Hey guys! People have been asking us like crazy what it's like for LGBT in Japan, or lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, but June and I are in no way qualified to talk about that on our own. So a couple months ago we asked our Japanese viewers for their opinions, and today we're going to share with you what they said. コメントしてくださった皆さん、本当にありがとうございました。And just a quick disclaimer, we did our best to translate all the comments, but there were some areas that were a little difficult to translate, or other areas where I couldn't make it sound graceful in English, so I apologize for that. First of all, a number of people brought up the point that Japan has a history of homosexuality. Japan has never had a religious basis for disliking homosexuality, and in fact, a number of famous military commanders and samurai were well known for having had homosexual relationships. A few people mentioned that there wasn't ever really an issue with homosexuality until Japan opened up to the West. In Japan, there's no religion that denies homosexuality, so it's not a sin. Homosexuality was never a sin or a vice. It was just something that was always naturally there. So why should people have to say they're gay? I'm straight, but I've never made a declaration out of it. Until the Edo period, there were gay samurai. Sengoku-era military commanders such as Oda Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who are very famous, swung their swords both ways. So for Japanese people, gay love shouldn't be that hard to accept. But I think that changed in the Meiji era when we started importing Western ideology. How Japanese people view gay people nowadays really depends on the person, so you can't really say one way or the other. However, Japanese people who know a lot of history are more tolerant of gay people than others, because in Japanese history there are a lot of gay people who accomplish important things, like Fujiwara no Yorinaga, who established the imperial system, and military commanders in the Sengoku period like Takeda Shingen, Oda Nobunaga, and Date Masamune. We don't have a religious taboo or historical prejudice against being gay. We're a country where famous daimyos wrote love letters to their pages, so... And genres like yaoi and yuri are well established now too. It was customary for some samurai to have gay lovers. Oda Nobunaga was well known for that. It seems like 400 years ago he had a relationship with a black male. The third shogun, Tokugawa Ieyasu, liked good-looking boys more than women. It seemed like there used to be male gay people in Japan, and they were accepted before Western culture came into Japan. But after Western culture came, they disappeared. In general, it seems like a lot of people said that gay people tend to hide themselves in Japan. Knowledge about the differences between gay and transgender, and especially the varying types of transgender, also seems to be pretty low. Konostak-san had the most highly upvoted comment and said, I'm gay. The first thing I want to say is that in Japan I've received almost no violence or verbal abuse. Most people tolerate, or at the very least are polite to gay people, so I think anyone can live happily in Japan. But understanding of gay and transgender is still pretty low, and there's a fair amount of prejudice. For example, TV producers lump the various sexual minorities together into a category called one to drive up views. So you don't see one people who wear clothes, talk, or express themselves emotionally in a way that's considered to be heterosexually male. So if I come out as gay, people will assume that I'm female on the inside, and they'll assume I'm interested in cross-dressing or a sex change, like those entertainers who speak like one. So gay people don't come out because if they do, that storm of prejudice pours down on them. But if you're just visiting, I believe there's absolutely no problem, and Japan is a safe country. There are two traditional words for one-san in Japanese. The first means older sister, but it can also be used to refer to young, polite, feminine women. And the second means young women, like in their 20s, and is kind of like the word miss. It's something you would use to call over a waitress, for example. And if you remove san and write it in katakana, it becomes one, which means gay men who speak effeminately, but don't wear women's clothes or anything like that. However, over the years the meaning has become distorted, and now some people use it to refer to all transgender and gay men. It's a somewhat controversial term, and while it seems okay to say it about entertainers on TV, a lot of people would be really upset if you used it to refer to them in person. People who look like men but on the inside are women are called one on TV. They're popular entertainers. It seems like every TV program has an one. But in general society, outside of a special place called Shinjuku ni-chome, gay people hide themselves. After all, it's not common to have gay friends in Japan. They might be there, but they're not out because of the atmosphere in our society. When I imagine gay people in Western countries, they're sexy, macho guys. But I don't think there are very many gay people like that in Japan. You have even less of a chance of seeing lesbians on TV. Of course, I'm sure they're there, but they're not out publicly. One people are popular at Shinjuku ni-chome. So I think gay people in Japan are completely different from gay people in Western countries. Shinjuku ni-chome is a district in Shinjuku, Tokyo that's famous for being a gay neighborhood with tons of gay bars and other businesses catering to the gay population. According to Wikipedia, in Shinjuku ni-chome there are 291 gay bars and 402 total businesses catering to gay people, like host clubs, bathhouses, massage parlors, video stores, etc. Midori Komatsuzaki-san mentioned that it's not common to see lesbians on TV. And from a lot of the comments we got, it seems like lesbians are even more uncommon than gay people in Japan. But there were several people who said they had lesbian friends and coworkers who came out and were accepted. I have a female colleague who is a lesbian, and she's just a normal employee. She works fine without any problems. My other colleagues and I planned a wedding ceremony for her. In Japan, young people don't really have problems with gay people. Maybe it's thanks to the media? By the way, in Japan we have onsen where you take a bath naked with others. My lesbian friend has a hard time going to an onsen because she said it's like taking bath with her male friends and it's embarrassing for her. One of my friends is a lesbian, and when she told me about it I was really surprised, but I don't mind anymore. Even if someone is lesbian or gay, that doesn't mean they like everyone of that gender. I came to understand that she's not interested in dating me, so I don't mind. They also fall in love with people like us. It's just that they fall in love with the same sex. Some people wouldn't understand that though, and might break off a friendship if their friend came out, especially Christian people. And I think this doesn't only happen in Japan. And of course, some people in Japan view homosexuality the same way that some people in America view it. In general, it seems like outside of TV, a lot of LGBT people tend to stay hidden. And because of that, a lot of people said they don't know anyone who's gay. I think there are a lot of LGBT people in Japan, but in the present condition, they don't come out. So, like June, I don't personally know any gay people. When I studied abroad in America and found out how many sexual minorities there are, after returning to Japan, I realized that they were certainly here too. But because of today's state of affairs, they hide themselves. I don't know how it is for people from other countries, but I get the feeling that knowledge of things like the differences between gay and transgender people in Japan is shallow. It would be nice if they would teach us that in school. I don't have any gay friends. I don't even have to think about it. I just think there are fewer gay people in Japan than there are in America and other Western countries. I think there are a lot of hidden gay people in Japan, but I hear a lot of stories about gay people attacking other people, so I think that's why they're not accepted. There may not be much prejudice about people coming out or appearing as the opposite sex though, because we're used to seeing them on TV. But because we don't see them that often in real life, I think it's difficult to know how to communicate with them. Some people felt like coming out was mainly an issue with your workplace. I'm a 40-year-old straight, married man. I don't have gay friends or acquaintances, nor do I know anyone at work who is gay. In my opinion, even if they were gay, they wouldn't tell people because in the Japanese work culture, it's very important how you're seen. Japanese companies don't think it's a good idea to have a gay salesman. They might think it's a little bad because customers might complain, or it could be disadvantageous. Frankly speaking, this is common sense in Japanese companies today. Including me, I don't think individuals are prejudiced against gay people, but as a company or community, gay people are abnormal, so that's how they're seen. I think this might be unique to Japan. It's very normal to have foreign people around us in Japan now, but I think it'll still take a while to accept gay people the same way we accept foreigners. But I think there were just as many people who said that they knew someone who came out at their work and didn't have any problems. There was one comment I found really interesting that suggested a lot of gay men in Japan might end up ignoring their sexuality and living a heterosexual life. I don't have any gay acquaintances, so I'm just guessing. Compared to America, knowledge about the LGBT category isn't very widespread. So because of that, I think there are some Japanese people who are actually gay but don't realize it and feel a little odd about being straight, but end up getting married to the opposite sex. And so I heard that once Japanese people get married and have kids, there are a lot of people who stop being man and woman or lovers anymore and then become housemates or best friends and then become sexless. There's statistical data that says that Japanese people tend to be less interested in sex than people in other countries. So in marriage, if you just want to be with a housemate or a best friend, then it doesn't matter what sex they are. So I think people who are actually gay don't really feel uncomfortable getting married to someone who's the opposite sex. And as a result, I think that makes gay Japanese people less noticeable. I don't think there's discrimination against gay people in Japan. And a number of people made points that in Japan, it's not common to loudly assert yourself and demand equality. I've had gay and lesbian friends, but I didn't think anything special about them, and my other coworkers and friends didn't dislike them. But in Japan, people who are overly self-assertive are somewhat kept at a distance from normal people, so I think you should avoid saying things loudly like, "I'm gay, I'm the same as everyone else." Japanese culture puts a lot of pressure on assimilating, so I imagine that even if you're a little bit different, it's difficult. As for foreigners, most people view them as completely different from Japanese people, so I don't think people care if they're gay. Japan isn't a country where you assert your rights. We're a society where without saying anything, people can guess your thoughts, or you can indirectly show your feelings through your expressions. So if you demand rights, then people consider you a nuisance. If you say things like, "I'm gay, I have the same rights as everyone else," people might end up putting you at a distance. Fortunately, there were a lot of people who felt like coming out isn't a big issue among young people anymore, and a common reaction is to either be temporarily surprised or just say, "Oh, really?" I don't think there are very many young people who would view gay people negatively. Twice before I've heard rumors about people around me being gay, but almost no one was shocked or spoke badly about them. It must be very difficult and take courage to come out for gay people, so I think a lot of people would respect that and welcome them warmly. These days you see yaoi and yuri and manga all over the place, so I think the younger generation doesn't really mind. When I hear that someone I don't know is gay, I don't care. I would be like, "Oh, really? So in my opinion, most Japanese people wouldn't mind. They would be like, "Just go ahead, as long as you guys don't trouble anyone, it'll be fine." But if they do lovey-dovey things right in front of you, then I think it would bother people. It's the same as a normal couple doing lovey-dovey things. There are gay people in Japan, but I don't think many of them are open about it. So for how gay people are viewed, basically Japanese people are not interested in anyone but themselves, and religion isn't widespread, so I don't think there's much prejudice against gay people. However, that doesn't necessarily mean they understand gay people. So people's reactions would be something like, "Oh, you're gay? Huh." I think there are some people who don't accept gay people, but most Japanese people don't mind and will welcome you without changing their attitude. And many people seem to think that LGBT foreigners shouldn't need to worry at all because they just get grouped into a category of outsiders, like with entertainers on TV. Frankly speaking, I think most Japanese people would warmly welcome foreign gay couples who are visiting Japan. I think Japanese people are lenient, so as long as you don't completely ignore Japanese customs and do what you want, then I think Japanese people will respect your individuality. So if you're just visiting, it should be fine, but if you're working in a Japanese company and you come out, then there are some people who would find that troublesome. Unless being gay or another minority can be a selling point, I don't think you should strongly support controversial subjects. To me, if it's a gay foreigner, I don't mind at all. But if it's another Japanese person, it makes me a little uncomfortable. Compared to us, Europe is relatively open when it comes to that sort of personal nature and love, so I think it's easy to accept foreigners who are gay. But in Japan, we're still somewhat conservative and closed, so I think accepting gay Japanese people is difficult. On the other hand, I have a question for you. America still has strict Catholics, right? If you're a strict Catholic and you're gay, what do? And of course, many people said it really depends on the person. Like in America, a lot of people who said that they feel uncomfortable around gay people seem to be worried about being hit on. But there are also a lot of people who said that because of TV and anime and manga, LGBT is becoming much more widely accepted these days. Overall, we have 20 pages of translated comments from 66 different Japanese people. They said a lot of really important things, and we had to leave out a lot of really great comments. So if you want to read through the entire collection of translated comments, we've posted that on our blog, rachelandjune.blogspot.com. Yes. I hope this video is a little bit helpful, so thanks for watching, guys. There are many people who come out in Japan. It might be difficult for Japanese people to understand gay people's feelings, but I don't think there's much prejudice or discrimination against them. If those people are still in high school, then they might feel out of place, but I don't think adults care as much. Japan has a history of homosexuality, and in today's Japan, I think gay people have a lot of civil rights. We have transgender, cross-dressing, and even sailor uniform wearing old men, so when it comes to gay or lesbian people, I think most people are just like, "Oh, really?" Well, I don't want to say there's zero prejudice. If one of my friends came out, I think I would be surprised, but I would want to help him and sincerely give him advice. And I think gay foreigners are accepted even more. Please overcome any discrimination and keep on living your way. I am supporting you so you and your family can live peacefully.